All right, so there are a billion and a half different methods of learning music. Um, with that being said, the one that I want to talk about right now is probably the most long-term rewarding in that once you do this, you'll be able to do it all the time and play for forever. However, it's also probably the most painful process to go through. So, this is a method that I got from one of my teachers, one of the student teachers, and we were studying the Mildes, these guys, which are etudes for bassoon. There's two books in this series. I started with the first one, as obviously we all should, and I am now looking for the second one. And you can use this principle for pretty much any technical exercise that you have to learn, or any kind of technical exercise that you have, or technical anything. Now, this is again a pain of a process to go through. I want to be very upfront with that. And it's great for woodwind players. For string players, it's not going to work as well. It can work. It's just going to be a little bit more difficult because of the bow. So something to take into consideration. Everybody else should be able to pretty much do this, but string players, it will be a little bit difficult because of bow lengths. So the way that my teacher said to do this was to take whatever piece, whatever excerpt you're working on, whatever etude. This is mine for right now. And you're going to count the lines. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 lines. And let's say that you want to do this in 5 days. Or you want to learn this piece and know it in 5 days. So you're going to do 3 lines. About 3 lines a day. So I'm going to take the first 3 lines and I'm going to play those at the beat for the metronome equals 60, where the beat is the 16th note. I'm not going to play the entire thing. I'm just going to play a short little excerpt, probably like the first measure, because this is exhausting. Okay? And when tuner's on also, and I'm going to also put on my drone, as soon as I find it, my drone. Put some C. So, for those of you that were wondering, that was one measure in 4/4 played at 60, where the beat equals the 16th note. And my job would be to play through all 3 lines at 60 equals the 16th note. And play it with dynamics, articulation, and musicality. Now that is incredibly painful because that takes forever. Now, to make matters worse, that's step 1. Step 2 would be to make or click up 1 more on the metronome and do the same thing at 61, and then 62, and 63, all at 120. Oh no, it's 60 times. Crazy. Now, once you're done with that, you go back, because you're not at the tempo yet. At 120, you're still at 60 equals the 8th note, which is still incredibly slow. I'll play that for you really quick so you can hear that too. So that's with the chord or the beat equals an 8th note. Then you do that, 60 to 120. Then you go back again, third and final time, 60 or the beat equals quarter note, and you go to the tempo that your target is. In this case, it's Allegretto, so it's like, I think that I play this usually at about 80, or maybe a little faster, maybe like 1. Let's see, this is 104. A little bit fast, but you do that. Again, throughout this entire process, your goal is to play as accurately as possible. There's no room for error. You have to play every single one perfectly. If you don't, you have to repeat it. That's why I say you have to do it perfectly every time. Now, believe me when I say that there will be moments when you're like, oh my gosh, I can't do that. This is something that for those of you that are studying intensely and really need to learn how to play something, this is an amazing method to do that. So now, that's the first 3 lines. So, excuse the computer. So you're probably wondering, okay, well, about the rest of the piece, because you just spent 15,000 hours playing 3 lines just trying to get those 3 lines. You're right. By the end of that, you're kind of done. The next day, you do the next 3 lines. Don't look at anything else, just look at those 3 lines. Sometimes I'll use paper and block off the lines that I don't need to play. And this is not necessarily supposed to be musical, so even if the phrase doesn't end at the end of that line, don't go on. You're only going to play those 3 measures. And then or those 3 lines, and then you play the next 3 lines, and then the next 3 lines, and the next 3 lines. So that's 5 days, like I said. On the 6th day, that's when you put it all together. I personally, at this point, don't go with that 1 click at a time. The beat equals 16th note. I might start with 8th notes and go slower. By this time, you should probably have it memorized. If you don't have it memorized, I'm a little bit concerned because you did play it 180 or 180 times. So if you're going from 60 to 120 every single time, which is highly possible for some of these tempos, for some of the tempi markings. So at that point, I would assume that you probably have most of it memorized. So with this one, it is very militant. It's very time-consuming. It's very exhausting. So if you're going to take it on, know that it's going to be a major project for your entire day and for your entire week, if it's a longer piece especially. These etudes did take me an entire week to prepare, and by the time that I finished, at the end of the week, I had them memorized. And I would show up to my lessons, and I would play the entire etude memorized for my teacher, and he would critique me, and I would play everything from memory. He would say, remember that spot in the whatever line that sounds like this, and he'd play it, and I'd be like, yes, I know it. And that is the goal, to know something so well that you know in and out. Make sure that you always have your tuner metronome drone going on the entire time. Eventually you'll be able to shut it off, because you'll just be so stuck with that pitch center in your brain that it just won't go away. But for these beginning processes, it's really important to take that time and really tune in. Another tip that I will give to you that I was not given, but that I find highly helpful. If you have a tuner or a metronome that has a timer that you can set and you can just play, a metronome that you can just set that will go up a click at the end of your setting, or at the end of your time, do that to save time so you're not having to click through. I practice this, and when I'm doing this, I get very comfortable. I find a comfortable chair for me to sit in that I can still have good posture in. I get a blanket and put that on my lap just in case I get cold in the winter, or I'm in shorts in the summertime, and I'm in like shorts and a tank top and just hanging out. I have a bottle of water and an energy bar, and I will do those 3 lines for however long it takes. Now when I say that, I'm being very genuine. It's exhausting. I don't wanna mince words or make it unclear. This is hard. Um, and I don't want to sound dramatic either. It's just, it is one of those things that it's very mentally and physically exhausting for us on our instruments and for us mentally. So it's something to be mindful of. And I don't want to discourage you from doing this either. Um, it's such a great way to learn something. I just want you to be prepared. Have a good meal before. It's like working out, but you're working out your brain. Like this is probably like the equivalent like what professional athletes have to do in the gym, but we're doing it with our instruments. So take that with what you will. If you have questions or if you have concerns or if you want to know more about this or if you think that that was dumb and you never want to do that ever again, any of that's fine, let me know. I highly encourage you to get in contact with me. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I would say happy practicing, but that seems a little bit mean in this instance. So, I will say as I can't remember what superhero said this, but very ominously, good luck.